right, so allow me to finally talk about Hurry Up Tomorrow, the movie.
Yeah.
Um, whew, where do I start? Right? Okay, I have a great starting point. Right? I love the album. I actually took time to review that album on during the last days of BBB Radio, right? I actually like talked about it there, right? And yes, for those who don't know, it is the final third of the weekends. I don't know what to exactly call this trilogy of albums that he's done, right? That'll be After Hours, Dawn FM, and Hurry Up to
Right.
Tomorrow. I'm not sure what the actual term or the name of this trilogy is, but yeah, I
Right.
mean, the album came out a few months ago. It was sprawling. It was kind of epic, and it just really felt like this was the end of and actually he would see this. Yeah, this is going to be the end of the Weekend character, right? And then,
Right.
I guess you'll see what Abel Tesfaye does from this point on, right? But yeah, I mean, I thought that the album was great, right? Even though I still think that Dawn FM is the best out of that trilogy, right? I know a lot of people would have After Hours on top, but nah, there was something about Dawn FM and just that 80s synth pop, city pop kind
Yeah.
of vibe.
Yeah.
Just I love that album so much, right? But yeah, um, even going into the album, we were hearing about, okay, a movie was coming, right? And then like about a couple weeks or so, or a week or so after the album drops, we got the first trailer for this movie here, right? And I'll never forget sharing it on Facebook, right? And I just like the status I put was just, dude, I know that the idol didn't play out the way you wanted it to, and yes, The Idol was my pick for worst TV show of 2023, I believe it was when it came out, right? But I was hoping that this movie would at least be better than The Idol because the album was great, right? So just to kind of jump into what I thought the movie was going to be, right? And yes, folks, I am very, very, very late to the party because I know the movie came out and barely anybody went to see it, barely anybody gave a shit
Right.
about it. I know it didn't
Yeah,
make
but
any
I know
money.
they had that. Yeah, I know it had that one clip keep circulating
Right,
about
I'll,
him
I'll
and
talk
shit.
about that viral
How
clip.
bad it?
I'll
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
that
How
viral clip.
bad of a how bad of an actor he is, and it's like, all right, well, moving
Yeah.
on. I couldn't get myself to care because like, yeah, he's like, look, I like him as a musician, but like, yeah, even trying with these things, like, what's the point?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right, right? Yeah, so, well, I should also mention too, right? Props to, the local, cinema owners in Trinidad, right? For saying here's what, right? Your East people too cultured, man. Sorry, not as cultured as us in the South, right? So you're not gonna see Hurry Up Tomorrow in Caribbean cinemas. No, you either had to go movie town to see it or you had to go down south to see it. I was like, nah, I'll just
Right.
wait till it come out on digital, which is exactly what I did, right? And yes, that was
Right.
months ago, but because of circumstances, I had a little time. I say, here's what, let me just watch this, and I'll explain why in a bit, right? So, actually, I'll start now in terms of why I wanted to see it, right? Personally, right? It wasn't to laugh at it, right? But I have always loved the idea of adapting an album, right? Because I've talked previously about Pink Floyd The Wall, that movie which is based off of Pink Floyd's actual album The Wall, right? And just how that movie was able to articulate the lyrics and all that kind of stuff always inspired me, right? And like in my head, I just always wanted to do something like that, like present an album in film style, right? I've always wanted to do a version of that, right? So when it came to this movie, I thought it was going to be something like that, right? Where you're going to take all the songs from the album and pretty much tell a full story, to give a full narrative in movie form, right? So at least when you go back to the album, you could be like, oh, so that's what the song is. That's what the song is. That's what the song is, right? And all that kind of stuff, right? I will talk about interpretations of songs later on, right? But anyway, so going into Hurry Up Tomorrow, right? I made sure not to read any reviews, right? Even though there's like a ton of YouTube thumbnails with
Right.
people just
Right.
with frowns on their faces and pretty much saying
Right.
Hurry Up
Yeah.
Tomorrow is trash and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I already know the movie was gonna be bad, but I went in as blind as I could, with my expectations a little high, right? So what I was expecting was just basically the album in film form. I was expecting that.
Right.
but we actually don't get that. What this is actually is a companion piece to the album itself, right? And in a nutshell, what it's about, right? It is about the Weeknd who is playing himself, right? It is like it draws inspiration from what the inspiration of Hurry Up Tomorrow was, right? Where on tour during some after hours tour, whatever it was, yeah, Abel lost his voice on stage, right? And it just really affected him psychologically, right? And that sort of springboard this Hurry Up Tomorrow's album, the idea that hey, I might not have I might have much more time left on this earth. So what do I do? Do I just put my all into my music? Do I just give my fans one last show? Or am I just gonna drown in self-pity and drugs and pain and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's what Hurry Up Tomorrow was, right? At least I've just given a very brief kind of synopsis of what it was, right? So yeah, in this movie, he's playing himself, right? His manager is played by Barry Keoghan of all people, and
Okay.
yeah, he in it too. Yeah, big Oscar nominee in this too. And he and they do play the whole thing with him losing his voice, right? But they set up early on, right, that his girlfriend, well, Abel's girlfriend, left him, right, sent him a voice note saying, oh, you're full of shit and you just keep me in the dark and all that stuff, and even your mom doesn't like you, blah blah blah, right? And Abel cannot take this at all. The man going through some serious tabanka, crying on the phone. There's a very, 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 very cringe moment that kind of had my laugh. I was laughing and cringe at the same time, right? Yes, there's some very unintentionally hilarious moments in this, right? Where he's backstage and he's being prepped to go on stage, right? So he's standing up, he having the makeup done, making sure he Versace suit, pressed and tucked in, put on properly, all that kind of stuff. And he is on his phone, sending his voice note, just being bitchy and bitchy and bitchy at his
Right.
ex. Like, answer my fucking call. What's wrong with you? You know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna be a legend. You're not gonna even be forgotten. You're gonna be nothing. And it ends with him throwing his phone at this mirror. I'm like, bruh. Even if you're playing a character, Dread Dog, you what why? Why you acting like this, Dread? Why you acting like such a pussy, Dread? What is that? What is that, right? But to get to what the conceit of it all, right? We are introduced to, well, she isn't given a name as yet, right? But she's played by Jenna Ortega of all people, right? And funny thing is, I thought that she was the ex, right? But actually, no. And it's set up early on that she has this very like unsettling kind of way of moving forward in life now. So like the show opens with
Right.
her literally torching a house down, right? But the way how the show is presented, I just they're thinking that, oh, this is the ex, right? This is the Weeknd's ex, but actually, and yes, I'll get to the spoilers. Sorry about that, because the movie came out like months ago now. No, she actually is somebody new. He never met her before, right? So yes, on the night when he performed and lose his voice, he pretty much leaves and try to bust out, and he all like tearing up and shit, and he actually runs into her, right? Because she jumps, because she was actually in the audience, and she jumped off. She pretty much follow the Weeknd, blah blah blah, and they meet together, right? And they spend some time together, and they crash out in the hotel, right?
Right.
I know about that viral clip. So they wake up in the morning now, and Abel is like, "Oh yeah, I have to go back on tour." My manager called him, and it's like, "All right, yeah, I guess I have to go." It's like, "Where you going? Like, you're just gonna leave me here by myself?" It's like, "Yeah, like I I spend the night with you. That's it, right?" And she just starts going off like, "I thought you meant something to me. Like I thought you really like we had a kinship. We had a bond. Like, why are you leaving me like this, right?" And yes, I would say like this, right? Because like when you see the viral clip, you don't have you don't really have idea what's going on, right? You just hear Jenna arguing a little bit, and then
Right.
we can drop the line, right? But when you see the context of how things play out, right? Which is what I just told you, right? The morning after, the Weeknd about to leave, and he want to leave the girl in the hotel room, right? So yes, when the Weeknd does that,
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
shut the fuck up, shut the fuck
Right.
up. I was dying of laughter, Hus. It is it's probably the most unintentionally hilarious thing I have seen in a movie all year. And just like that viral moment from the Idol where he was telling that guy, "You shut the fuck up, man. I'll stop your fucking herb." When he was trying to talk down to the guy at the store. Yeah, I was laughing at that shit too, but dog, that man's delivery was hilarious. And what make it even funnier, cause I know you saw the clip too, is the face,
Right, yeah.
boy. It's something about the man facial expression that just had me in stitches, boy. So when he just does that, shut the fuck up. Like, I was just dying of laughter, boy. It is so funny, right? If it's one thing I regret not seeing it in theaters, if I did see it in cinema, sorry, and there was like what, three people with me, I imagine all four of us would have been laughing at that shit, right? But yeah, just to make a long story short with the premise now, so yeah, afterwards, Jenna can't take it anymore and she busts the man head, and then he wakes up and he finds himself in some sort of like weird Lynchian kind of dream state kind of thing.
Right.
He actually goes down an elevator and is all implied that he's going to hell, and he comes out, he's like, what the fuck's going on and all that kind of stuff, right? He sees some weird chick, and I thought it was Jenna, but she moving all ghoulish, and she's like, rah, literally that moment is just there to be a jump scare. Again, it's trying to be all David Lynch with it, right?
Right.
And then eventually he finds himself on a bed, and it turned out to be the same hotel bed that he was on, and he's tied up now because, yeah, Jenna actually is sort of a psycho.
Right.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I did not see that shit
No,
coming a
she was
mile away. I did not see
right,
that.
yeah, because they did this with her. It's like they think it's because she's kind of the young girl du jour. They kind of doing a lot of that like psychosexual stuff with her. Oh, she's a girl, but they flipped it on her. She played Wednesday. She playing with this thing from Beetlejuice. It's
Right.
all of these kind of characters, right? And the kind of the weird kind of sexual undertones of the character because you're always playing effectively a teenager or a child or a very very young adult.
Yeah,
They
because
did this with
she looks young, like, and there's like a lot of
exactly,
close-ups of her. It's like, dog, she look
exactly.
real, like she looks like a
Right.
teenager. Swear to God.
Yeah, they're playing on this conceit, which is, the idea is that it's supposed to be uncomfortable anyway, but I see back and forth about that. And to me, like, she didn't have a movie with, oh gosh, this fella.
Or Death
Oh
of a
gosh.
Unicorn, which you covered. Yeah.
No. No, before that, oh gosh, it's slipping my mind, this fella. Bilbo Baggins, no. I forget the Martin.
Not Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman, right?
Okay.
He had a movie with that and is a kind of cancel culture kind of something kind of thing they're trying to play with. And so it's like, yeah, why is she in so much of these roles? Like, why is he trying to do this here? And like, I don't want to go in any kind of conspiracy theory rabbit hole with respect to this stuff. But like, it's stuff like that, right? Like, this stuff, they keep doing this with this girl, and it's like, look, I think she's a good actor, but it's like, guys, all this do with her though. Like,
I know,
why
boy.
they keep doing
Yeah.
it? And it's get real weird after a while. Like, and like sometimes it's you could kind of tolerate it because it's mildly fun, like in Beetlejuice, for example. But like, every one of these roles is this. So like, I'm trying to think of what role she in where they don't do this or play with that in some way. And like, why are they doing this so much? However, moving on.
Yeah, it's
Next.
weird, right? And
Right.
I just quick theory. I would not. I assume that the reason why she was cast is she is supposed to be like a stand-in character-wise for one of the Weeknd's ex, who would
Right,
be Selena Gomez.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
who also have, because I think she early 30s now. Yeah, she also have that sort of like very youthful kind of look to her, especially with her face and whatnot, right? So I don't know. I just theorizing here. Maybe that's why Jenna was cast to play the psychotic character, right? But yeah, we just get like the film's version of Misery because he's all tied up, and she
Right.
and dog, things got it weirder, but it downright cringy us to the point that I watching this on my computer, right? So I literally was flipping at the screen while I was watching this moment, right? Again, spoilers because the movie come a long time ago, right? Wait for this, Ricardo. Wait for this, and don't worry, I'm not gonna stay too long in this show because I mean it's hurry up tomorrow, right? But whatever. Shino is a super fan of The Weeknd, and she proceeds. Well, basically, her thing is that she wants to know why he keeps lying to women so much. Because the night that they spent together, she felt like, oh, the Weeknd actually loves me. Like, he really, really loves me, and he understands me because I'm a broken soul too, and blah, 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 right? But then afterwards, because he just treats she as a one night stand, he looked the boss out. She get mad and she bust she head, right? Sorry, she bust he head, right? So she proceeds, Ricardo, to play off. She basically starts playing a Weekend playlist.
Right. Right. This is music, right?
She starts off with flashing lights. And when I hear that, I was like, no, fuck
It's
you,
him. It's
movie.
him.
Fuck
So
you,
it's him
movie.
trying to
Yes.
do. So this is his Purple Rain, right? Like that's what he's trying to do. Yeah? Like,
That's what it is. It
Right. Okay.
is
Right. Okay.
essentially
Yeah.
a vanity project. Because I kept
Right.
hearing that
Right.
term thrown out with the show, vanity project, vanity project. It's like,
Right.
really? Like, because if you were to ask me, like, if I were to articulate what one is, I can't really see it. Like, I have to like remember shows like what that, right? But yeah, just like Purple Rain, he's playing himself, but it's really
Right.
like meta commentary on himself, his image and all that kind of stuff, right? So yes, poor Jenna Ortega is dancing and lip singing to Flashing Lights, Blinding Lights, right? Not Flashing Lights. Flashing
Right.
Lights is Kanye.
Right.
Sorry, right?
Kanye.
So Blinding Lights,
Right.
oops, right? Dancing and pretty much saying, "Oh, this is one of your most popular songs, and like lyrically, it's about this, and I could see that you're going through some sort of hardship and blah blah." Blah. So she is analyzing the song while she is dancing to Blinding Lights, and I'm watching this like, wow, somebody is sucking the Weeknd's dick with this movie, boy. Wow, wow,
Right.
wow, wow, wow. Then afterwards, she plays Gasoline from Dawn FM. And
Right.
she had the goal to say, yeah, this was actually a really good song, but, I know that a lot of people were not rocking with the music video. And admittedly, I do not remember the music video for Gasoline, to be honest, right? I saw it once, but like it didn't stick out to me. But that's the point. Oh, people like it didn't chart as well as it should. Because apparently it's because of how he does this sort of like weird sort of Duran Duran kind of voice, like it's Friday night, like the way how he but I didn't mind it because he was leaning into 80s pop shit. That's the point.
Right.
He is performative here, right? It was like, oh no, it didn't work, blah blah, right? And then she stops, right? And then the manager tries to come in now, and they have a scuffle, and then he gets stabbed with a piece of glass, basically, and he dies, right? So yeah, you actually get some violence in the movie. Wow, right? Blood spilling, all that kind of shit, right? And then she goes back to the bed, right? And then she is threatening to stab she's threatening to burn, like literally torch him now because she have gasoline. Haha, because the song called Gasoline, right? And the lyrics talk about, oh, tie me up in these sheets and pour the gasoline, right? So she
Right.
says, yes, well, I gotta pour some gasoline on your ass, I gotta torch you, right? Because you don't want to tell me why you always so toxic towards women, and tell me the truth, right? And boy, they was hinting at it throughout the movie, but I had to spoil it, right? So in a long take, right, which nobody asked for, a close up of Abel that nobody asked for, he's still tied up. Man sings the final track of Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is Hurry Up Tomorrow. He is singing it in its entirety, right?
Right.
And this is where I felt that sting of the show slapping me in my face, Shred. So ultimately, the movie was not like to visualize the entire album. No, it was just basically to answer what Hurry Up Tomorrow is about. In other words, is a genius page for one song off the Man album.
Right.
Because remember in my review, I thought Hurry Up Tomorrow was just him basically saying, what he just want to be redeemed, he want, God to save him, but he had to go through one final moment of pain, so it's like the light blinding him, but it also kind of hurting him at the same time, but he'll be reborn, or maybe he'll die, whatever it is. This one is just saying, I am beyond redemption, so I am just apologizing to everybody, and you might as well just torch me and I just burn to death. And if I make it to heaven, I make it to heaven. That's really what that moment is about. And just say like, Huss, this is what you waste 90 minutes at this point in time to tell me
Right.
this is actually what the song is about. You're
And then,
serious?
I just compared it to something like, you see, it should have just been like you see, stuff like this should just be an extended music video more than anything. Like, you see what, like, this fella Slick Rick did, with Ting, with
Or Victory,
what you
I
call it?
still haven't listened
Yeah,
to it or
right,
watched that video. But I
right.
will, yeah.
With oh god, what's his name? Is oh gosh, who directed? Oh god, it's not my mind right now. This fella, Idris Elba, right?
Oh right, yeah, I
Yeah,
know
he
he was in
directed
the
it.
or he is he in the, is he in the film or he just directed it?
But he ain't the material, but I think he directed as well.
Okay,
But
cool. I'm glad that
yeah.
Idris still doing the directing thing, cool. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. It was solid stuff, and I thought it was good. Like, like this is way how to do with this kind of stuff. But you see, this movie trying to do a full narrative thing. Prince do it because Prince get away with it, and he's do it. But like I admit it, Purple Rain was kind of trash. Like, I like Purple Rain, it's fun,
Really
but like
though? Like, all right, like okay. So quick detour, right? Out of the
mm,
three movies that he has made, that is Purple Rain, under the oh gosh, under the Cherry Moon and Graffiti
right,
Bridge. Purple
right.
Rain is pound for pound the best of the three. It is not a
Yeah,
perfect
I didn't
movie,
say
mind you, but
I
it's
didn't
a
say
nice
I didn't
kind
say
of
no.
autobiographical kind of look at who he is, the persona. I
It
think the
could be
show's
it
kind
could
of
be
great. But that's just me.
it's the best of the tree, but like it's still bad. Like I just think I didn't like the way at all. Like,
All
but it's
right,
not to say like
okay.
it works. I could understand why it works for what it was at the time. At the time, that would have been like kind of interesting. Like, because anybody else was doing something like this, it was kind of weird and experimental. So you let it slide now. But like, yeah, it don't hold up as a wicked narrative as it is. But it's like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It tell a story. So he now coming with this now. It's like, unless you're gonna really tell an interesting story, we're gonna do with this. It take the guy who was a monkey do a way better story than this earlier
Dude,
this year.
Better Man was brilliant. I
Better man.
love that film. Love it, yes.
So how? So why you doing this bullshit now? Like,
And
we done. Yeah, whatever.
right,
Moving.
and just to touch on that, right? I'll give the outro a bit, right? The show didn't even have the goal to pretty much take like songs, like big songs from the album and really expand on them in visual ways, right? The closest that we get, swear to God, is Drive. And this is, the
Right.
moment where Jenna and the Weeknd are out at night. And like, I get it, but I'll put it like this, right? Visually, it makes it doesn't make a lick of sense, right? Because to put it bluntly, they're not even driving. Dog, the music video for Drive, which also includes Jen in it, made much more sense visually. In this one, is just they go into a carnival and you see them like hanging out and playing and having fun, and you're hearing, I just want to drive tomorrow. Like, the song, the lyrics don't match with the visuals. They don't work. As like sonically, it works, right? It does, right? Because that sort of chilled out kind of like really happy and positive vibe, right? It works sonically, right? But lyrically, it don't make a lick of sense. Like, why, like, juxtapose that with the visuals? It makes no sense, right? But I'm saying this right now because unlike Better Man and unlike Purple Rain, there's not a lot of songs from the album. You like, for
Right.
example, you hear Timeless, but you just hear it in a hotel scene with Barry Keoghan's character doing drugs with a bunch of chicks and whatnot. Oh, I forgot to mention Metro Boomin make a real brief appearance, but he has seen nothing. Yeah, he was just there in a club hanging out with the Weeknd and stuff like that. That was it. But the point is, like, I was expecting key songs from the album to be visualized now, and no, they're just background music. Like, what? Like, Cry For You. Cry For You, One of the best songs off of that album is just playing off of a radio. Like, you serious? You serious, Weekend? Come on, man, right? But yeah, all through time, right? So, yes, Crisis of Conscience now, Jenna decide to save the Weekend, right? So, she untie him and burn the bed, and then you just see, well, basically, remember the hotel, right? So the Weekend comes out and he walking down the hallway now, and wait for this, he finds himself back he finds himself backstage where we last saw him when he was like pretty much bitching about the whole, the thing with the ex leaving him and whatnot, right? And he sits in front of his mirror and he just stares at it and the show ends. So in other words, the show had the balls to say, Oh, the Weeknd has finally learned his lesson. He learned that he needs to be honest about himself, especially when it comes to his music. He needs to be honest about how he feels. He needs to be honest with how he looks at women, and that's the end of the film. The end. So yeah, hands down one of the worst films I see for the year. But
Yep.
I'm gonna give this a 1.5 out of 5. This shit is very, very cringe, right? Because here's the funny thing about this show, right? Yes, it is cringe, yet it is badly written. I will say that the direction is kind of strong though. I forgot the guy's name right now, but I like that there is a very stylized, sort of surrealistic, like I like his stylized and surrealistic visuals and whatnot, right? You could tell it's very Lynchian, right? Very David Lynch inspired, right? I really dig it, right? Also, he's sort of a film nerd as well too, so he's drawing inspiration from
Right.
other shows, right? I mentioned Misery. There's a bit of Ingmar Bergman's persona involved because at first you're not really sure if the Weeknd is like playing himself or if he's somebody else. They do a sort of a little blurring of the lines there. I was wondering honestly if Jenna's character was the ex, but she's playing somebody else because if you saw a persona, it plays a lot with identity, right? It plays a lot with, hey, this person have a split personality, like this character have a split personality. I thought that's what they was playing, right? But they don't really do that, which was a letdown, right? They even have a little reference to Regent Bull where with the first performance where he's performing literally the first track of the album, yeah, is this long take of him, this long take of him basically leaving backstage and walking into the stage and performing his set and then leaving. That was kind of cool. That was actually really, really cool, right? But yeah, outside of that though, yes, the writing is terrible. Lacks any nuance. It just it's trying to do so much, boy, but it just does so little, Dread. The Weeknd, at least the character that he plays here is one dimensional. He's technically an asshole, Dread, right? But the show does not even flesh out his character properly, right? Because it just tells you, oh, he's just such a bad individual. He's such a toxic person, and even the mom don't want nothing to do with him and all that kind of stuff. But like you're not giving him any context. You're not telling him, oh, way back when, blah blah blah. Even in Purple Rain, there was the subplot involving Prince's alcoholic dad. At least that show you, oh, that is why Prince so messed up, and that's why he also toxic with women. Give us something like
Right.
that. No, we don't get that. It's just telling you, oh, he mom and all that kind of stuff. Like, come on, man, right? Give him more than that, right? And then, of course, yes, I sorry to see this, boy, but Weeknd. I fucks with you as an artist, right? I fucks with you as a songwriter, but when it comes to the acting thing, Jed, nope. No, 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 no. The man is whiny. He is bitchy. He is, and what's so sad too is that he have Barry and Jenna holding the film up for him, They are doing the heavy lifting for him every time they on screen together, He is the weakest link. He is the weakest link. Even Jenna with the really terrible character that they write for her, she does a great job. Like at least she puts energy into it, right? With the Weeknd, it's just him whiny and crying and quarreling all the time and just being all scared and worried all the time, and you just really don't care for the character at all, right? And the show goes out of his way to tell you, no, you really have to care, no. This man is burdened. This man is tortured. You really must care. But no, I don't care. I listen to the album, and I will tell you, the album does more fleshing out of his character there than on this movie. You just don't care at all, Trent. And then it gets even worse when he has to deliver lines and he does it either in a bland way or in a very whiny way. So yes, when you get to like the shut the fuck up moment, it's laughable. It's painfully bad, right? To the point I wondered if that was like the first or second thing that he took, and the director was like, "Yep, that's what we're going for." That one thing, right? But yeah, that is a viral clip for all the right reasons, boy, because it is beyond cringe. It's hilarious, right? I'll close this, right? Reason why I'm giving this a 1.5 is that yeah, I could see this being like this cult classic in the future, like akin to like a room or something like that, right? Where you could watch it and just laugh and cringe at the same time. You could just watch this with friends, get drunk, laugh at all the poor narrative choices, and just the antics that Jen is forced to do, and of course the dialogue that Weeknd does, and the acting that he tries to do, right? It's bad. It's just genuinely bad though. But it really is one of those shows that you have to watch with friends and laugh at, right? You know. But yeah, this was a huge let down for me, Dre, because yeah, at the end of the day, all that this really could have done was just adapt the album, give the album more context, give it more visuals, tell the full album out, give it 2 hours for all I care, right? And you tell the full album out. That's what they should have done. But no, they just zero in on one song, which is the last song, and just pick like 3-4 songs and then tell me, oh well, you know, that's it. That's the movie with Weeknd. Like, nah, we could do much better than that, right? But yeah, at the moment, this is my pick for worst movie of the year. This is not a show that I'm gonna forget in a hurry. I'm gonna be remembering that viral clip for days to come though. But Weeknd, bro, when it comes to like just your trajectory going forward, singing and songwriting, stick to that. When it comes to writing and acting, those are not your strong points. Those are not your strengths at all, right? And yes, at the end of the day, this movie exists to be a variety project. It is the Weeknd show. That's what it is. It's the Weeknd movie. It's all to market the Weeknd as an actor, as a writer, but it just do it, right? So just like the Idol, yeah, this is just a step down the way this man's like non-music career, man. And I just hope that if he continues on, because I don't know if he'll go by able going forward or if he'll continue to make films. But yeah, the man just needs to stop like doing these self-indulgent films and actually make a product that has something to say, because this show literally has nothing to say. It's just, oh, feel sorry about the Weeknd, feel sorry about the Weeknd, feel sorry about the Weeknd. Why? You didn't give me a reason to care, so why should I feel sorry for the man? I'm sorry. So yeah, last point, and then I'll move on. Listen to the album. Okay, it's great. One of the best albums of the year. And it's so funny that, you know, Weeknd put out one of the best albums of the year or one of the worst movies of the year. Like process that for a second, right? And they don't even connect. And yet they have the same fucking name. Well, else you can see us. Moving on.
Right. Yep.